Hey, what's going on, everyone? I appreciate those of y'all tuning in. Right now, we got a film breakdown on Washington wide receiver Romo Odunze. Going to be figuring out what he does well, needs to work on, doesn't do so well. How does his game translate to the NFL? And this is a really stacked wide receiver class. So where does he rank among that stacked class? A lot of people have him from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 3. So let's break down the film, get to understand where he is, what he translates very well with into the NFL, and those sorts of things. Really excited. Follow me on social media. Links will be in the description. Hit the bell, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. And of course, as y'all know, that's textbook. So here we go. I chose this play because it shows me that outside of like the fancy stuff, like route running, the catches and touchdowns, all of those sorts of things, it shows that Romo Dunze has a good knowledge of running rub routes and pick routes to create separation for others. So right here, Odunze in the circle right there is going to be running this sit route. And his goal is to affect this linebacker right here because Washington has the running back on a rail route. So Odunze wants to affect this linebacker, make their angle tough to guard the rail route. And we'll see it unfold right here. Right here. Right there. You see it already in the picture. Has the linebacker choose a difficult angle to guard this rail route, and he's able to get in the way. So in the NFL, rub routes, depending on how you run them, are going to call pass interference. It's going to be a penalty if you get in the way and just hit the defensive back or defensive player. But he gets out of the way, and then the ball still goes his way. And we can see, right, as we're paused right now, that is blanketed coverage. So as a wide receiver, you can't basket catch because that'll be incomplete. You have to put your hands out there and trust your hands. So, and Odunze has exceptional hands, and overall, that's textbook rep from Odunze. Now, when scouting college wide receivers, I always like to see how they do beating press because if you can beat press and get that separation consistently, you're a wide receiver 1 in the league, and you're depending on how well you do, you're considered one of the best wide receivers in the league and a elite wide receiver. So right here, Odunze in the circle is going to be running a corner route. Now, it's as a wide receiver, you have to be wary of and pay attention to the leverage a defensive back has. Like this defensive back is shaded right. So that's going to affect how Odunze runs this corner route. So he has to win inside, and at the snap, which we see right here, you have to give them a little move. So that way they can get off their platform, start stumbling a little bit. Perfect. Now we have to get hip to hip. He does. Now it's a battle of, can I stack? Can I get on top of the defensive back and stack? Now, when I say stack, I mean this. Think of it of like you're driving, right? Someone cuts you off. Well, the speed you had before getting cut off was really fast. Now that you're cut off, it's slow. That's what you want to do as a wide receiver. You want to get on top of that defensive back so that way they can't have any positioning over you to get that separation. Now, and then we're going to have to talk about hand fighting as well. He does right there. He gets that hand fighting. Is it the best separation? No, and also just something to be a little bit wary of. Now, this play right here is one of my favorite plays from Odunze because it shows a trait that elite wide receivers in the NFL have. And at the collegiate level for Odunze, he has it nailed down, stand pat. So, right here, defense tackle jumps off sides. Now we got free play. Odunze on a go route. And I'm going to pause this at certain frames. Like we can see right there, that is excellent coverage from the defensive back. He's in phase. Okay, right? I mean, just excellent coverage. Nothing much more you can do about it, except late hands. Now, what I mean by late hands, let me just play it first, actually. Right there. So we see Odunze makes the catch, and we saw that type of blanketed coverage. That's a phenomenal trait that he possesses, but also it tells me that Odunze knows that when you're in phase like that with a defensive back, they're going to be paying attention to your eyes and your hands. So if he were to put his hands out there, The defensive back knows, oh, okay, the ball's going to be somewhere around there. I can play through the hands, swat the hands down. Now it's going to be incomplete. But with Odunze's late hands, as we see the whole play once again, he's able to make the catch in a contested coverage. He does that all the time on his tape. And it's gonna I mean that's textbook. It's gonna translate very, very well into the NFL. Like those elite separators, they all have one characteristic, and that's wiggle, right? Odunze shows that a little bit, although sometimes, and we'll see it in this next play, not this one, but the next one, it's a little bit inconsistent at times. So let's watch Odunze in the circle again. That violent snap down, that's excellent. So I'll talk about this a lot with the snap down. You want to snap down all of a sudden and be in like a sitting chair position and explode, get a lot of momentum and explosion into bursting out of the route, which is what he does. Now the defensive back, he's touching the turf. That's good separation, and it shows you a little bit of what Odunze can do. Now, with this play, it's a little bit of a different story, and it also adds on the element of as a wide receiver, you have to get out of your break faster than you got into it, and the cuts have to be sharp. Also, the thing with the break is you want to limit it to 3 steps. So let's watch Odunze here. He's going to be running a corner route. He's in the circle to the top of the screen, and it's not the best. I would say sit down. I'm looking for different words, but snap down. That's what I'm looking for. It's not the best snap down, and you can see the break is really rounded, right? For her to go back and pause it, he's starting the break at the 25, and then he's ending up at the 30, and it's well covered. So something. A lot of the elite separators have that violent snap down, and they're able to get out of the break faster than they are into it and limited it to 3 steps. Something I don't see consistently enough from him on tape. And then again, right here with this snap down, something I don't want to be harping on and paying too all my attention to it, but I want to give it a little bit just because watch Odunze here starts, and if we can see right his, I think this is his left foot, but his foot or his leg is out further than his head. You don't want to do that because you don't have the ground. You want to keep everything controlled and underneath you, so that way you don't slip on the route. And actually, within this film, I didn't show it, but this happens. He gets his feet way past his head, way past his frame, slips down, and it results in an interception. So just something I think he can work on with that snap down, but that'll come with proper coaching, which I hope he does. This one right here, another one of my favorite reps from Odunze, and it checks the boxes for a lot of the traits that you want in a wide receiver. So there's no help over the top. That's heaven for a wide receiver. And it's press coverage, with the defensive back shaded a little bit to the inside to Odunze's right. Gives him a little move. And of course, I'll say this with the downfield separation for him. It's not something I see a whole lot of, but I think the Washington scheme, I don't see Odunze as a wide receiver who's going to be running all these long developing routes. And a reason being is because the separation on a lot of these, especially the deep routes, not terrific at the NFL level. I don't think NFL teams should ask him to be doing this. But what he does well is contested catches, the late hands, and just positioning. His positioning is incredible. So we watch it display contested catch, right? It was blanketed coverage, and it's a touchdown. Now, why am I so hard on the contested coverage and that's the not such great deep separation? Is because are there some quarterbacks that are going to throw you that ball? Because some quarterbacks will look at that and say that's covered. And so I was talking about the separation ability and wiggle, right? He shows some glimpses of it, but is it consistent sometimes? And that's up for debate, right? Well, now he gets same situation scenario, inside shade, press coverage. What is Odunze going to do? So here we go. And he gives a slight little wiggle, right? A little hesitation move. I call it a basketball crossover because he goes 1-2 with the footwork. He's able to, he's in a good athletic stance, able to gear down and use all that create power, force, and energy into the break. And we see him, he's able to get the defensive back to stumble and show some separation right there, and then positioning. So again, just the things that I'm worried about with Romo Odunze is his separation. Now he does show some characteristics of the separation and a little bit of wiggle, but those are glimpses. I just want to see it a little bit more consistently. So I talked about the small things Odunze does that don't get a whole lot of attention, which they should. And right here is just another example of that. We got Odunze to the bottom of the screen. It's a run play, but look at his blocking. In phase, doesn't let go. I mean, that is again textbook blocking right there. And then it results in a touchdown, in part because of Odunze's blocking. This one right here, it's an exceptional play from Romo Odunze. I mean, he's just going to be running a post, and it's the body positioning for me that just has me saying, "Wow." Because right here, the ball is up in the air and it's going to Odunze. He's got that type of position. He's got that positioning up against this defensive back. Still has it, and you can see the hand fighting right there. But to leap up, high point the football, that type of mentality when attacking the ball and make a phenomenal catch. And we see the hand fighting, right? Hand fighting right there, and the catch just insane. We're getting to see why so many people are high on him and having him in the ranks of wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 3. So remember the first play with that Odunze ran that pick play for the running back on the route? Well, right here, he's going to do a very similar thing. He's going to pick off this linebacker right here, and it's going to lead to a touchdown. So we get that contact. We get that contact from the defensive back, right? Well, and I talked about with running pick plays, you don't want to just go straight into the defensive player because then that's going to be result in a penalty and a flag at the next level. But with that contact that the defensive back initiates, he drives him into the linebacker, and now we see it unfold. It's a touchdown. Half credit right there on the touchdown, or half a touchdown for Romo Odunze if there was such a scenario. So when playing as wide receiver, some of it is reactive. Like Davante Adams, he's been on record saying that he doesn't have a plan when going up against a defensive back and the type of leverage that they're showing. It's just reactions. And there's also a lot of wide receivers too. That's not just saying you do it that only strictly way, but there's a lot of wide receivers that have certain plans the way they run their routes. And I like the plan Romo Odunze runs, or his planning for the route that he's going to run. So he's going to run an out route, and what he's really going to do is he's going to attack this defensive back's leverage because he sees that they're shaded way far inside the hashes, running an out route to the short side of the field. Not something you enjoy doing or want to find yourself in. But you see, he starts somewhere about right here. Now he's working up this way to the defensive back's leverage, gives him a little stutter move, gets that separation, the hand fighting. One thing I will say, and it's tough with out routes because the quarterback has to be on point and it has to be way out there, like to the sideline. If it's to the wide receiver's inside shoulder, I should say, it's going to be a pick. That's what Penix does. And then the leaping ability to trust your hands, make that type of hands catch. And I think he gets both feet in bounds. Really incredible from Odunze. Could it be a little bit more crisp route? Yeah, but it's good enough for me. So we've talked about running routes versus man, right? Well, now let's talk about running routes versus zone. So we have the arrow right there pointing to Odunze, and Odunze is going to run an out and up. Now, on these certain type of routes, it is important for the wide receiver, especially when we have a safety like this over the top, to get as close to the numbers and as close to the sideline as possible to give your quarterback some room to throw the ball. So let's watch this play unfold. We see Odunze there, right? He gets the out, gets that linebacker to commit, and this cornerback is also going over the top here. So not only do we have this safety, but we have this cornerback who's going to peel back. And just watch Odunze as close as he gets to the sideline, giving Penix some space to throw the ball. And so there he is, right? The ball is coming to him, and he's close to the hash marks right here on the sideline. Nice rep from Odunze. Just it's the small things that he understands and knows is why I'm really high on this kid. I absolutely love this creativity from Rome Odunze right here. Creativity is something the elite of the elite wide receivers do. They know that defensive backs watch your every move, so you have to get creative off of some of these things. So Dunze right here, with the arrow pointed him at the bottom, he's going to run a hitch or a curl route, however you want to dice it up. But what he's going to do is he's going to make it look like an out route, stop his momentum, get that violent snap down, and get some positioning and leverage inside. So watch it unfold. I mean, that is a nice route. I absolutely love to see wide receivers have that type of creativity within their route because it gets the defensive back to be confused and it's just so crisp and so nice. So let's just watch it one more time. So the best for last. This is my favorite rep from Romo Dunze in his collegiate career. It shows me everything from getting hip to hip, the release, stacking, ball tracking. Uh, it is just, I mean, it's textbook. It is phenomenal. It's all of those things, all of the above. Let's watch it right here. There's Odunze right here at the top of the screen, right by the 35-yard line. Let's break it down step by step. So he gets the hip to hip, right? Now we have to stack. Now he's starting to stack. And I'll pause it right about right here because you can see him get that positioning over the defensive back to where the defensive back is in a no-win situation. Now the ball tracking, he feels like it's going to be going this way, like to the A or to the S right here for in the name Washington in the end zone. Instead, it's over the shoulder, more so to the W over here in this uh, pylon. And the ball tracking, it's a it's a touchdown. So we have all of those elements that are NFL traits, and it results in a touchdown. I mean, it's just phenomenal textbook, all of the above. So that is a wrap for the Romo Dunze film breakdown. Now, what are some things that he does well? In my opinion, ball tracking, body positioning, blocking, how to run rub routes, late hands, how to or the plan that you have in terms of the route that you're running against certain coverages and leverages, knowing some of the limitations he has, so using creativity off of that to win and get some separation. All of those things are seamless fits into the NFL. He's going to be doing that come day one. Now, what are some things that Odunze can work on? What I evaluated and scouted, the snap down is going to have to be a little bit more violent for me. He's going to have to work on that. Limiting the steps out of his break, getting faster out of the break, and just not rounding. Because sometimes he'll round a lot of cuts. You don't want to do that and give an easier path for the defensive back. And I think all of those things combined can be fixed with proper coaching in the NFL. Hopefully he gets that. And in terms of player comp, like I go based off of play style, and I'm gonna go with Mike Evans. Now I don't know the height and weight of Evans or Odunze right now at this moment, but play style and the fact that like if you think of Mike Evans, do a whole lot of people consider him to be an elite separator, right? Or one of those elite route runners? No, we think of like the Justin Jeffersons, Stephon Diggs of the world, right? So Evans isn't that type of separator, but he knows his limitations and which routes and how he can get open versus certain coverages and leverages. Very much like Odunze. And Evans has tremendous late hands. Also like Odunze. So though and both of them don't have top-notch deep threat type of speed, right? That's why I create that comparison between Evans and Odunze because there's so much of them in terms of the way they approach their craft and game. Now, where is Rome Odunze going to end up? At this moment right now, I would say the Atlanta Falcons because they're sitting there at pick 8. The Chicago Bears are also a suitor, and you figure they might trade up to get Odunze. That's a possibility. And then lastly here, I would say the New York Giants. Like if the Giants are there at 6 and there's not a quarterback that they like, they could possibly take Odunze and they need some wide receiver help. So now, where do I rank Odunze in this draft class? I'm gonna go 1 Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 Malik Neighbors, and the reason why I go with Neighbors ahead of Odunze is because I think Neighbors is a lot better of a separator and his snap down is more polished for the NFL. But listen, with all these wide receiver rankings, especially with this class, they're all elite, talented wide receivers and prospects coming in. So they're going to be fantastic. Like whichever team gets Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., you're going to feel really good about that wide receiver position, and they're going to be serviceable, quality wide receivers that are going to be consistent. Romo Dunze's film, it earns the That's Textbook label. It's textbook in the ways he understands how to run certain routes versus certain leverages and coverages, running routes versus zone as well, understanding his limitations, so using some creativity to get open and create separation. It's textbook. And now for my audience, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. Y'all mean the world to me. Make sure you check out the description, the addresses to my social medias, TikTok. I'm on Twitter a lot. Instagram, whichever social media channel, it is in the description at textbook_sports. Make sure you check that out. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and of course, hit that bell, turn on post notifications. You don't want to miss any of the content that I have coming up. If you want me to review a draft prospect that you really like, let me know in the comments. Once again, appreciate all y'all. God bless y'all. Have a fantastic day. And until next time, that's deuces.